How do the Knicks respond? We are tied at 81 at the end of 3 in game 2.
We just kept feeding him. He just kept making big play after big play, and that's why we brought him here.
Halliburton 3!
Here comes the New York Knicks.
3-point game. It's a 3 to tie. No. Indiana has gone up 2 games to none over the Knicks.
And the Pacers, they thrive under pressure. That is now 6 straight road playoff wins. 7-0 in clutch time games this postseason. That means games within 5 points with 5 minutes to go. The first team to do that since LeBron and the Heat back in 2011. In fact, no team has won 8 consecutive clutch time playoff games since the 1999 champion Spurs. A couple of those, by the way, were against the Knicks in the finals. We have a guy who played for the Knicks and an NBA champion, Iman Shumpert, co-host of Hoop Streams on the ESPN app, joining us from Minneapolis this morning. So let's talk about this game first, Iman, as the Pacers go up 2-0. You know, they're so deep, right? They run about 10 deep. And with Tyrese Halliburton not having his best game, it was really Pascal Siakam from the start. He finishes with 39 points. What impressed you about his performance in game 2?
His ability to hit tough twos. I think that we don't appreciate it enough. He did it when he was over there in Toronto. He becomes a problem for you. He posts up, he gets people in foul trouble, or he shows that threat to where people don't play as good a defense, and he gets people in trouble. He's very disruptive, and every time you need a big bucket, he gets it done with a tough two that can calm your team down. But the great thing about this team is that the bench comes in and does their thing, but having Miles Turner on that team really, really helped them out. He did not have a great game starting off. He didn't go away from anything. He didn't get frustrated. He stayed around. He kept playing. He kept rebounding. He kept talking. Later on in that fourth quarter, he comes up big for them and doesn't get talked about enough. He's one of those guys who's been playing on Indiana for a while. He gives them confidence. He gives them energy, and you see how they roll with him. At the end of games, though, Indiana's just putting together a better ball game as far as making winning plays. I think that the Knicks, on the other hand, have Jalen Brunson fighting alone sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Turner has 13 points in the first. Rick Carlisle, listen, this guy knows how to coach. He's one of the winningest coaches in the NBA right now, making the perfect substitutions, calling the timeouts at the right time. But let's go to Tibbs on the other side, because this is a tough dilemma. You have Karl Anthony Towns, right? And he is not doing what he needs to do defensively at times. So he only plays 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. So you've got this incredible center on offense, this guy when you need points, but yet he's sitting. So what do you think that Tibbs needs to do in terms of that rotation, Mitchell Robinson and Cat, going forward in game 3?
Well, I definitely think that you bring a guy in like Karl Anthony Towns. You didn't bring him in to have him sitting down at the end of the game. I think, do you need to inspire him? Do you need to challenge him to where he knows he needs to wear more of the chip on his shoulder to be a part of the game, especially defensively? But his force and his ability on offense, his ability to play within a pick and roll and cause the team to stretch out and have to stay honest. He has to be in there as a threat. That will help Jalen Brunson a little bit as far as just getting cleaner looks, but getting looks where he is not working so hard and exerting so much energy to where at the end of the game, it seems like shots are short.
Yeah, just those blown coverages on.
The important part first. I mean, I really didn't see myself originally with this sweatsuit on, but now that I'm looking at myself, it looks pretty damn good. I just wanted to say that on this Friday morning. I'm glad I wore this. I'm glad I wore this. Now let me get to more important subject matters. The New York Knicks, listen, a lot of people are not going to look at it that way because they're going to assume that the New York Knicks can overcome an 0-2 deficit after losing their first 2 games of the series, let alone it being at Madison Square Garden. I definitely believe the season's on the line with I don't think they can afford to go down 0-2 to this Indiana Pacers team, considering the bevy of weapons that they have available to them, the depth, the fact that they had 11 different dudes average 15 minutes a game or more during this regular season, and they're championship tested, their championship coach, meaning because he's a Hall of Famer, he's a champion, and Rick Carlisle, we know he knows what the hell he's doing. And you have to surmise that the New York Knicks need to win this game. Can they save this season? I believe they will. I believe they will win tonight. They have to. But it still doesn't leave me less despondent than I was from the other night. Just to put things in perspective, they were up 17 with over 6 minutes left. They were up 14 with 2:50 left. They were up 9 with 52 seconds left, and they lost this game. The Indiana Pacers committed 7 turnovers for the entire game. The New York Knicks committed 5 in the last 5.5 minutes. So I'm looking at that, and I'm saying here you have an Indiana team that's exceptionally well coached, that protects the basketball, they have shot makers in Neesmith, Nembhard, obviously Halliburton as well, to a lesser degree Siakam, Turner, and you're just saying to yourself, how are you going to combat that, particularly considering what the Knicks bring to the table? But the only solace I have is this, guys, and then I'll give it to you. After a loss, the New York Knicks record is 4-0 in this postseason. After a loss, Jalen Brunson has averaged 33 on 50% shooting from the field and 8.5 assists. After a loss, Mikal Bridges has averaged 22.5 points on 58% shooting from the field. After a loss, OG Anunoby has averaged 21.8 points on 38% shooting from 3. After a loss, Karl Anthony Towns has averaged 21.3 points, also with 11.5 rebounds. So the New York Knicks answered the call. Usually, they had better do so tonight. They cannot afford to lose this game. I think they know it, and I think they respond in kind.
Ensemble effort is what the Knicks are going to have. It's great to have Brunson and Cat do what they did in Game 1. They still lost that game. Mm-hmm. Tonight they're going to have big games. Don't get me wrong, but so are OG, Bridges, and Hart, because you're talking about. That's the limit. You're not talking about X factors coming off the bench. Probably not Jay Will, because Tibbs is not going to go. Tibbs has got to make a huge adjustment in that area. Since when has Tibbs, as a head coach, made that particular adjustment to dramatically change a rotation? That's not happening. So you're talking about the people who are already involved, and Stephen A. outlined it. Those guys have responded. They are not a fragile team. Mental strength and strength in general, to me, might be the greatest attribute, other than just Brunson's clutchness, of this team. It's a hallmark of this team. So we got to see that, and we have to see it particularly at close.
Well, I think anybody that comes to the table about, Jalen Brunson needs to have 35 plus or Cat needs to have 40, that plays into how Indiana would want them to play. That would actually work against them. Jalen Brunson used the term short-term memory. I like to call it amnesia. Like, sometimes you just need to take the tape and throw it out the window, especially when you have a short turnaround. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to forget great defensive habits. And I think if there's one thing, the biggest...
David Dennis Jr. with us now as the Pacers take a 2-0 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Q, I want to start with you. Jalen Brunson, fine game, 36 points, 11 assists. But we got to address that decision for a pull-up 3 from the logo, 10 seconds left. What are your thoughts on that shot choice?
Well, I felt like Jalen Brunson didn't do a whole lot of wrong last night, but I didn't like that shot. I understand. I can see where he was coming from, trying to get it, because they were doubling him, jumping him, doing so many different things, gadget plays to try and take the ball out of his hand. I feel like he felt that was like a chance to get his best shot before getting doubled or jumped or anything. But I just felt like that he could have got a better shot. He could have been close. That was a pretty deep shot that he doesn't really shoot those type of distance threes. But I feel like he could have, even if it wasn't for him, they could have got a better shot out of that play. And it was kind of rushed, and that put them behind the 8 ball when he missed that one.
Yeah, I could see the logic behind the shot there. Like, I think he was expecting them to foul so they wouldn't get a chance to shoot at 3. So I think that's what he was thinking there. But beyond that, this speaks to a larger issue with the Knicks and their late game execution. They just could not. We know what happened in Game 1 where they fell apart. But in Game 2, they just couldn't get the rebound when they needed. They couldn't get the stop when they needed. They couldn't get the shot to go in when they needed. This team's calling card in the first 2 rounds was clutch performance. And right now, the Pacers are being a better team in the clutch and executing down the stretch better. And all that culminates in Jalen Brunson feeling like he needs to take a logo shot to have a chance to tie this game.
Let's go to the other side of this matchup. The Pacers, they're great in transition. They're able to move the ball well out there on the floor. David, what impressed you with the Pacers' offense last night?
Pascal Siakam, we got to start with him. The Pacers came out kind of lethargic at the beginning of this game, and he really set the table for them to get them kind of poised a little bit, especially in that first half. 21 points in that first half. Let's not forget that Pascal Siakam was the second best player on a championship team a few years ago with the Toronto Raptors. But this, again, speaks to another overall issue, is that the Indiana Pacers have an answer for everything that the Knicks are doing on defense. When Mitchell Robinson is flying down the court, they're putting Miles Turner in the corner and getting him out the paint. They're ISOing Jalen Brunson, and then when Cat is in the game, he is an absolute lunchable, minus 37 net rating. His defense has been atrocious in this series, and the Pacers are feasting on everything that the Knicks are doing wrong.
Hey, I'm doubling down. I agree with you on the Pascal set the tone from the beginning. But, I mean, I think what we've been seeing throughout this playoffs and then also throughout the season, Double D, is that the Pacers are that team. Obviously, every team, you have your guys. When you look at this, everything that they've done, they have a leading scorer, they have a leading rebounder, but they truly play a style of basketball where you don't know who it's going to be. Coach Carlisle doesn't coach in a way where he's specifying this guy's going to score. Whoever comes out that night and whoever is playing well, that's what makes them difficult. They ride the hot hand. They go to what's working. We've seen them broad plays for Neesmith, Nembhard, T.J. McConnell. I mean, obviously they drawn up plays for Miles Turner and Tyrese and the go-to guys and Pascal, but they